So what is awareness or consciousness? Why do we have these two different words, awareness and consciousness? Awareness is already here as your own light of awareness, which is already present here. This light of awareness shining through your eyes is essentially your own self. However, in the most cases, it is veiled by the mind, emotions, energies. So it seems to be, awareness seems to be limited, seems to be far away, seems to be limited. Consciousness is even further, we could say, because one only has a conceptual understanding of what is consciousness. One may have heard that everything is consciousness, or one may know that presently you are in the awake state of consciousness, and one may know that there is the supreme consciousness. However, in reality, these are just words. Consciousness it's a word as a reference to God, as a reference to the emptiness, as Buddha said, as the reference to the whole universe, as now many are saying the universal consciousness. So it can get quite confusing. All these definitions of awareness, consciousness, and consciousness like this and like that and like that. So what is the easiest way to understand all of it? To make sense out of all of it? Firstly, to refer to what is experiential for you. To refer to what is experiential to you. So first thing experiential is that you are aware. Now, there is no doubt about that, and everybody is aware here now. So this is experiential. When it comes to consciousness, being conscious is experiential. So everyone also has no doubts that you are conscious right now. And that's the case for everyone. So this is experiential, being aware or being conscious. It actually is the same thing. Being aware or being conscious is the same thing in reality. And that is your undoubtful, obvious, experiential recognition that you're aware, you're conscious. When we come to spirituality and what we call inquiry and consciousness work, or opening of awareness, expanding of awareness, So to simplify, essentially awareness itself is exactly the same recognition that you are already aware, but recognition that not only you are aware, that you are that awareness itself, that you are that awareness itself, that you are already aware. So when we refer to awareness, it is the essential identity that we refer to. And the same way when we refer to consciousness or the consciousness, we also refer to the same essential identity that you are conscious and thus you are consciousness. Now in the non-duality teachings and various spiritual teachers have different reference points. So Buddha named it emptiness, Christianity named it God, and Muhammad and Allah and so on, or Shiva consciousness. Now it gets very confusing with all these definitions. So now we have simplified that being aware, being conscious is your essence, is actually who you are, your real and true identity. One famous teacher, Nisargadatta Maharaj, he referred that awareness is the ultimate and consciousness is transitory. And if one follows his books or watches his videos, he refers that the awareness is your natural self, it is that, and consciousness has these different grades. And therefore, as the consciousness opens more and more and more, it becomes the pure open awareness. And of course, we can agree on that undoubtedly. And at the same time, the true meaning of awareness is complete open light of being, is the complete open naturalness, complete open emptiness. In the levels of consciousness, for those who are familiar with the system of the levels of consciousness, awareness is written as the LOC 700, and then we have LOC 1000 full consciousness. So LOC 700 means that a person has realized and identified himself or herself as awareness, but it's still limited. It's more regarded as my own subject. And then there is still the world, there is the experience. So there's a certain limitation, but it is the easiest way for a person to progress forward into completely open awareness. Because if we have referred to as LOC 700 as not fully open consciousness, that would be a bit funny and strange. Yeah, so helping people to open up all the way to 1000, we notice that it's in the process of openings, it's usually easier for people, for students to recognize that they are already aware and that's who they really are. And now it becomes as a recognition that is myself, but it's still subjective and there is still world objective. but it's pretty high level because that is considered as the first step of enlightenment. So when I speak about awareness, I refer to as completely open awareness. And that is equal to the full consciousness. Yeah, so that is the real meaning of awareness when I speak about it, that it's completely open. It's your essence self. It is the self, or the absolute self. So essentially, awareness is a very convenient word to a convenient inquiry to come back and to see your own self, your own identity, because awareness is experiential. If we talk about consciousness, it is more conceptual. Because when I mention, if I ask every one of you, what is consciousness? You're going to pause and start to think about it. So it's not so experiential to you, it's more conceptual. Because you're going to start referring to what you know, what is consciousness. Yeah, so therefore the word consciousness is not so easy and not so practical, we can say, in terms of your own awakening. And now it has become, the word consciousness has become a big buzzword, and the scientists, refer to as the whole universe is consciousness and this and that. So it's being recognized that it exists in the scientific way as the governing intelligence of the universe, or the universal mind, they refer to it. But actually that's all energy in reality. It's not the consciousness, it's just the energy and how it works. So the whole universe is energy. It has its laws, the way how it works, and there's a governing intelligence of the whole universe, and they could say a universal intelligence or universal mind, universal consciousness. It's actually energy, intelligence. While consciousness itself is that light which shines through the whole universe, all the energy, and it's the source of all energy. It's where the energy was born from where it came from. So the real consciousness is much more, and there's no scientific instrument that can ever measure it. Because how can you measure the source with an instrument, while the instrument is already a creation? It's a certain manifested tool. So the manifested tool can only measure that which is manifested. So it cannot ever measure consciousness itself, because consciousness is untouchable. It's just like in the movie, how can a detective in the movie find the white screen? He can point to it, but he cannot ever touch it, because the detective in the movie is part of the movie, is part of the projection. So although he can point to it and say, well, guys, there's the biggest mystery of all, is that we're all on this white screen. But I can't ever touch it because I am the movie. I'm the character in the movie. So he can point to it, but not touch it. So the same way any scientific instrument can only point to the consciousness, but it can't ever touch it. So what are the common known types of consciousness? The most common known type of consciousness is your waking consciousness. When you wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, your mind kicks in, everything kicks in, and you are in the waking state. So this is the most commonly recognized state of type of consciousness, the waking consciousness. Of course, it's very limited, and therefore all the mystics and saints were pointing that there is something much deeper than that which you see with your open eyes. There is something much more than the thoughts, the mind itself, and that's where meditation comes in. The second type of consciousness is that it's called the subconsciousness. So that's where you go when you start to meditate. You go from waking consciousness into subconsciousness. Subconsciousness is kind of primarily located in the lower chest area, solar plexus area. And in a way, it's like your hard drive and your key software, we could say. It stores all your applications, your belief systems. It stores all the data, everything that you have experienced in this particular lifetime. And it's also a dumping ground for all the rubbish that you don't want to see, that you don't like, that you totally want to avoid and not feel, and so on. So all is dumped into the subconsciousness. And then, of course, it becomes very messy. And that subconsciousness is also something where you go when you sleep, where you experience your dreams. So did you ever notice that your dreams are kind of made for you? That all your dreams are made for you. And there are various types of dreams, actually. So some of the dreams are like completely random and they don't make any sense. So we can call them processing dreams. Some dreams are still feel like regular dreams, but then they have some sort of meaning. We could say something important there. And these dreams carry a particular message that you can decode and bring it into your conscious mind. And there are a third type of dreams, which are called lucid dreams. So that's when you have some certain degree of control, where you're dreaming, but then you recognize that, oh, I'm dreaming. So you're sort of a little bit awake in your dream. Yeah, so that's called the lucid dream or clear dream. And then, of course, there are astral journeys, which can happen through dreams, but that's actually more of a meditative definition rather than dream itself. It's a meditative experience. It can happen through sleep because your mind is off, so it's kind of a natural meditation. And nearly everybody has certain astral experience, but most people don't recognize that it was an astral experience. They regard it as a very interesting dream. It was so realistic. And you did something and went somewhere and met someone, and it was like, felt like totally real. It was also made for you. So dreams, astral journeys are all kind of made for you. And they're composed. And it's always been fascinating for me to see how real those dreams can be and who made those dreams. And because, they're so realistic, it's like really like meeting, real people and going to real places. And they're so real, but it's a dream. But when you were there in the dream, it felt like totally real, like a real thing. It's only that you wake up in the morning and, oh, that was a dream, So you kind of understand it so. But when you were in the dream, it was like totally real. So therefore, dreams are unique to you, we could say. While when you wake up in the conscious waking state, we're part of a bigger thing. yeah, it's not so unique to you because everybody else is also awake. And now you have to, we can say, adapt to this particular environment in your waking state. So everyone else is also participating in it. Animals also dream. They also have subconsciousness, and then cats dream and dogs dream, and then horses and so on. Many animals also dream. So they also have subconsciousness. So subconsciousness plays a key role, and everybody experiences it on a daily basis. Now, a third type of consciousness is called unconsciousness. It's not a coma. Yeah, it's not a coma. And in one regards, everybody also goes to unconsciousness when you go to sleep and you go into deep sleep. There's no more dreams, and then you are just unconscious. But then your body is still awake, because if there is an alarm clock, your body wakes up and it wakes you up. Who wakes you up when there is an alarm clock? That's a good question. Who wakes you up when there is an alarm clock? Because you were in a deep sleep. So who wakes you up? So your body wakes you up. And actually, in truth, your awareness is still present, but you are not aware of it. So it's actually your awareness that nudges the body, because the body receives the alarm signal, the sound, the buzzing sound. The awareness is still awake, and then it through the body and awareness wakes up you into your dream state, and then into your conscious state. So actually your awareness is always present, even when your identity sleeps in a deep unconscious sleep. But the awareness is still there, but most of the people are not aware of that. And they're just enjoying the refreshing unconscious sleep, or this deep sleep state. However, in advanced meditations, in the advanced openings of consciousness, a person has developed the strength of their own awareness. That is the LOC 700, the awareness awakening, and a person has developed such a strength of awareness consciously. So they brought the awareness into their into the subconsciousness, cleaned it up, and into the conscious state, cleaned it up. And now this awareness is so much stronger that in 800's LOC, which is the unconsciousness, the awareness goes in during meditation, in this advanced meditation. And going into this unconscious state with the meditation of awareness is considered as a second step of enlightenment, bringing the awareness into unconsciousness. Unconsciousness, as I mentioned, is either you're in a deep sleep state, or it's also called the causality, the causal body. The causal body, which is a universal manifestation. You function with the causal body in the universe, and it's the body which is, well, subject to the universal causality, because the universe has its own laws and its own ways, and the causal body is part of it, through which you function in the universe. So causal body is that's where the manifestation arises and functioning arises. So it's called causal body, causality, or unconsciousness, and every one of you, when you sleep, every night you go into this level of consciousness, 800s, the great void. It's also called unconsciousness. So actually, when you're in deep sleep state, you're in a higher consciousness than in your waking state for most of the people on this earth. So that's quite ironic. So that's the third type of consciousness, the unconsciousness. It's very, very deep, and people are not aware of it unless they're advanced meditators, and they have done a lot of work to be able to get into it and to pass through it into the fourth type of consciousness, which is called the supracausal consciousness, meaning it's beyond causality. It's beyond causality, and meaning it's beyond the laws of the nature, the laws of the universe. It's just like our current governments, which are totally beyond the laws. They can do whatever they want and get away with it. You know, they can totally invent what they want and do what they want, and still be fine because they made the laws. And so in this sense, you know, of course, they're corrupt, but in a universal sense, the supracausal consciousness is beyond the manifestation of the universe. So it's even a higher intelligence. And again, there's no scientific instrument that would be able to detect that, because it's way above it, and it's considered as a divine realm above the universe realm. And basically it's how the universe was born, or the pre-Big Bang universe, before that, before the Big Bang, before creation, before everything. So and lastly, the last type of consciousness is full consciousness. So that is you know, the pure awareness, the God self, and the source itself, or the absolute self. And there is only one. There is only one of that. Yeah, there's only one of that. While the supracausal consciousness, there are many. There are many divine beings and many enlightened beings function with the supracausal consciousness. And the same way as there are many universes, but there's only one source, one self, one source. So essentially, now we have clarified that the awareness, when it's completely open, it's the same as full consciousness. And for the sake of ease of your inquiry, you should always refer to that which is experiential. So this is why the word consciousness is not so practical. And you know, if we look at non-duality, it's not used at all. It's more used as, you know, self. If we look at the Indian traditions, well, the like Ramana inquiry, he doesn't use the consciousness word, you know, much. And Krishna as well hasn't, didn't use it much apart from the self. And well, in Hinduism they do use it, and especially in the hippie tantric movements, there's Shiva consciousness. So actually, Shiva consciousness, what it means is because Shiva is one of the three universal gods, meaning the god of truth and destruction. There are other two, one of creation, the other one is sustenance, and then the truth and destruction. So they're worshipping an aspect, a universal created aspect of intelligence rather than the supreme self. Yeah, so they're not putting their attention in the right place in this whole tantric movement. And in Hindu tradition, well, those who get confused with the Hindu tradition, because Hinduism is very complex system, but they clearly say that there are these three gods, and then there is the supreme one. So one would have to figure it out, through Hinduism and find that out. And Buddha was quite, frank, and he just said it's emptiness, so that you don't conceptualize it, you don't put your fingers on it, and you don't feed your mind with it. And at the same time, Buddha means awake. So that's what he meant. It's awake emptiness. Buddha nature is awake emptiness. Or it means, well, awareness, same thing, when it's completely open. Awareness. So you see that in reality, it's pretty simple to understand all of it. To understand all of it. Of course, to get there and the practice is not so simple, but to have the right understanding or the right foundations, it's pretty simple. Yes, and in a very practical sense, what we find out is that it's really the easiest to simply refer to that which is experiential to you, that you're aware, you are conscious, and you simply need to go into that awareness, into that being conscious place. And that's how you deepen and come closer to your essence identity, because being aware, and all of you already are, you will see that you can focus on that for a bit, on being aware. You can focus on that for a bit, but you can't put your finger on it, or you can't grab it, you can't hold it, because focusing, it's a momentarily shift of your consciousness, of your perception. It's a momentarily shift, but to stay there, well, you have to be that, and actually you are that. But then the challenge comes is that what happens most commonly, people focus on awareness, and then they freeze their energy. They freeze their energy, they freeze their mind, and then everything starts cramping up and getting tensed up, and it gets more and more tensed, and then thoughts start coming in. They start, no, go away, I'm focusing on awareness, and emotions arise. And then emotion says, I'm getting frustrated now, I'm getting angry, I'm getting disappointed, because you're freezing the naturalness. you can't do that, you know, like you're blocking you're trying to block the ocean, or you know, it just doesn't work, or you're trying to, you know, block the sky, or hold the sky. So just the same way that you can't touch the air, and you cannot touch the emptiness, but you can recognize that there is emptiness. It's the same way that you can recognize that there is space here now, but you just can't touch the space because, well, you're gonna just make some funny moves. Yeah. So essentially, it's good to develop a habit to acknowledge your own awareness, to check that you are always aware, you're still aware, and to know that that is your true identity, that's your true essence. Yeah, so this is very helpful. This is very helpful, because if you imagine that, where is my true self? You know, is it, you know, a feeling of home in my heart? Is that my true self? Or you meditate and you have this amazing heavenly experience in Pleiades, or you know, somewhere else, and you say, that's my true home, I want to go home, you know, because that's my true home, is not here. And that's a big distraction from your real essence, your true self. Yeah, so therefore it is fundamentally important for everyone to know, to have this right foundation, that you are awareness, and you are already aware, and you need to acknowledge that, and allow that to seep in to your experience. And of course, the challenges are the you know, the limitations of the mind, and emotional energetic blockages, and that's where the difficulty is, and that's where, you know, we do the clearing work and transmissions to speed up this process, generally called deconditioning. So that is a highway to your essence self. So every human being is aware. Every animal is aware. Yeah, even cat and dog. And in some rare occasions, even animals can get enlightened. They can, yeah, in some very rare occasions. So there's a story of cow. The cow became enlightened, and it's a story of Ramana's cow. Ramana was a great sage in India, and this cow, you know, really liked, you know, being around in the ashram, or in his place where he was staying at the Arunachala hill. So this cow really liked Ramana, and she was coming back. And as far as I know, for 20 years she was coming back to Ramana, and she felt very connected with him, and constantly trying to be in his presence as much as she could. And Ramana confirmed that after 20 years she became enlightened, she became liberated. Yeah, so it can happen. Even animals can do that. But that's a very rare occasion, because animals do not have you know, conscious contemplation as such. They cannot inquire, they can't use this conscious intelligence, so to speak. Although this cow showed, her name is Lakshmi, so she showed like a big devotion and connection. It's just like, you know, your cats and your dogs like feel so connected to you, you know, they love you unconditionally, and well, you actually can help them a lot to grow spiritually, to your cats and dogs and pets. And so we have in my home we have fish, and we have some birds, we have a cat. Well, I'll tell you that for fish it's a bit difficult, to help them out. That doesn't work that well. For birds, well, we have the canaries, like 5 of them actually, and they're not that responsive. Although we have a beautiful connection, so they can feel me, recognize when we meet, like a little connection. It's lovely. And with the cat, it's a much more bigger relationship. It's a much bigger connection. And actually, I saw the soul of our cat and her past lives, and in her last lifetime, she was a Tibetan monk together with my partner Leon. So she was a Tibetan monk, and the way that I saw that is I think I came closer to her, and I kind of, sometimes she likes kissing, and she kind of licked onto my third eye as I came closer, like lovingly to her. And then I saw a vision that, oh, Tibetan monk she was. And she's very kind of monkhood. She likes her space and her time, and she likes to stick around high vibrational areas, sleep under crystals, and pretty good life, pretty good life, I would have to say. So the whole reincarnation thing is it's very interesting that you can choose to, you're human, you can choose to become a cat, but you know that you're going to have a good lifetime, sticking around with high vibrational realized beings, and sleeping under crystals, and just have a nice time, and and her biggest challenge is to, guess what, is to be the cat. Because she is resisting, the cuddles, which is a cat nature. And kind of we're talking to her, just surrender. And I say, oh, no, I can't do that. So we're talking to her, we're helping her out. Like, just be natural, just be natural. Don't resist the cuddles. And now as she's growing up, she's relaxing into her naturalness. So it's a bit of a funny thing, and so kind of her sole purpose is to learn about naturalness. You may say she has her character, of course she does, but I can see from a soul level, it's about naturalness, to surrender to who you are, to your true natural state. So even animals, you see, they bring a certain lesson to work through in their lifetimes. Yeah, they do that. So animals can get enlightened. That's possible, and of course, for human beings, it's an opportunity for everyone. And many lifetimes one has lived. It is known that commonly a soul has went through about 20,000 human lifetimes to become liberated. 20,000 human lifetimes. I'm not speaking about animal lifetimes and plant lifetimes and so on. 20,000 human lifetimes. So that's how many times the soul came into the body to learn and learn and learn and grow until the soul can reach that stage of liberation. This has been common, I would say, up until well, 2012, because in 2012 we entered the age of Aquarius, and then there's a lot bigger cosmic energies, and the whole thing is changing now, and many souls incarnated on this earth, because as you know, there's now over 7 billion people, while just like 100 years ago it was like 500 million or so. I'm not fully sure, but it was a lot less. So suddenly, like, everybody came in, you know, like everybody, hey guys, we're shifting into the new age, and let's get on this earth because that's going to be an amazing thing to do. So many souls came in recently in the last 100 years because of, we can say, to ride the wave of liberation and ascension. Yeah, to enjoy the ascension party, we can say, or the easy way up. Yeah, so that's why we have so many people now on Earth, and it's still gonna grow for a while until we reach around. Well, it depends, maybe around 9-10 billion, and then we're gonna start traveling around the other star systems, being as a fully galactic civilization. So it's also natural, you know, where something good is happening, everybody goes. So in a way, from a soul perspective, you know, I'm not telling you that, you know, life is easy here. I know, but from a soul perspective, it's an amazing opportunity for awakening, and everybody came here. It's like in the whole galaxy, everybody says, no, the next good spot is Earth. Let's just go there, all of us, you know. So everybody flocked up here to ride this wave. So that's what's going on here. Yeah, so it's an amazing time for awakening, for liberation, for clearing the karma, and just realizing who you are, and enjoying your life as an awakened being. So it's a lot easier now because everything is very much supported for awakening. Life is not easy, but awakening is easy now.